There is one organ which causes high blood pressure, and it's not what you think. And there are specific exercises you can use to target and fix your blood pressure easily. No diet, lifestyle changes, or medication required. Check the link in the description below, but for now, today's question.
The question: what are best yoga to control blood pressure? Answer by Rakshit Shah. General cautions for high blood pressure. A stress test may be crucial before you start. If you have any of the following conditions, it is essential seeing your physician. Any medications you may be taking should also be discussed with your physician. Always get your physician's advice if contraindications when practicing yoga with high blood pressure. In general, yoga asanas that put the body in an inverted position, i.e., having the legs higher than the heart and the heart higher than the head, should be avoided by people with cardiovascular disease. If you have high blood pressure, the following yoga inversions should be avoided. Yoga asanas for relieving high blood pressure. Yoga breathing exercises for high blood pressure. Can yogic breathing exercises and pranayama help to reduce blood pressure? There is a lot of evidence suggesting that yes, breathing exercises can be another helpful tool to lower blood pressure naturally. Deep breathing for high blood pressure works by calming your sympathetic nervous system and increasing blood flow to your tissues, particularly to your heart, as your diaphragm moves up and down. One study demonstrated that taking 6 deep breaths in half a minute reduced systolic blood pressure by over 3.4 units when compared to those sitting quietly. Utilizing yoga for high blood pressure is most useful if done as part of a multi-therapeutic approach, including lifestyle changes and Ayurvedic remedies for stress and high blood pressure. As always, when it comes to natural healing, getting results are not usually as quick and easy as popping a pill. The good news is, however, that when you take steps to lower blood pressure naturally by helping the body's own healing response to take care of the problem, you get true, holistic healing. As your nervous system becomes more balanced, your whole mind and body system benefits. This means you, generally speaking, will feel better, have more energy, will perform better during the day, and have more resources for coping with stress. Answer by Rahul Patel. Here are some yoga poses to control blood pressure. Begin on your hands and knees and place 2 or 3 blankets, folded lengthwise, underneath your chest. Press the weight evenly through the hands as you straighten your arms and lift up through the inner edges of the arms. Release your shoulder blades away from your neck toward your hips, straighten the legs, and lift your pelvis up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. Separate your feet wider than hip width apart. Lift the pelvis away from the wrists and, keeping the legs firm, press the fronts of the thighs away from the torso toward the backs of the legs and lengthen your calves down toward your heels. Extend the inner arms from the wrists toward the shoulders as you move the shoulder blades away from the neck toward the pelvis. Let the back of your neck release down so that your head, somewhere between the top of your forehead and the crown of the head, can rest on the support. If your head doesn't comfortably reach your support, add another blanket. You shouldn't have to bend the elbows in order to reach the blankets. If your neck feels compressed or your head jams into the blankets, lower your support. When you can balance the dynamic action in the limbs and torso with the rest and relaxation in the head and neck, you'll be able to hold the pose for a few minutes without feeling strain. When you come down, separate and bend your knees, sit on your heels, and release your head to the floor in Balasana. 2. Uttanasana, standing forward bend pose, with head support. Separate the feet as wide apart as the narrow side of a yoga mat. Align the outer heels and little toes on the edges of the mat, and place a block at its tallest height between your feet and in line with your big toes. Depending on your proportions and the flexibility of your hamstrings, you may need more or less support. Stack a couple of blocks, if necessary, or put the blocks or a folded blanket on the seat of a chair to rest your head. Bend forward, straighten your legs, and place the crown of your head on your support. Hold the ankles and spread the elbows apart from each other. Move your shoulder blades away from your neck, but let the back of your head descend toward the floor. Even though your head is resting on your support, keep the majority of your weight in your feet, balancing the weight evenly between the front, back, inside, and outside edges of the feet. Lift your thighs firmly and press the thigh bones toward the backs of the legs without disturbing your head. The back of the neck should feel long and the chest broad. Breathe normally and stay in the pose for as long as you like, up to 3 minutes. Place your hands on your hips, inhale, and come up. 3. Paschimottanasana, posterior stretch pose. Sit on 2 folded blankets and extend your legs straight in front of you in Dandasana, seated staff pose, feet hip width apart. Place a bolster lengthwise on top of your legs, with a folded blanket on the bolster closer to your feet. Lift. the sides of your torso up. If you find that you're slumping backward, sit on more support. Extend forward and hold the outside edges of your feet with your hands. Lengthen your abdomen over the bolster and rest your forehead on the blanket. If you can't reach your feet, hold the belt around the feet. If your head doesn't reach the blanket, rest it on a chair instead, padded with at least one blanket. Straighten your legs and press the thigh bones toward the floor as much as you can without allowing your heels to lift. Relax the forehead and spread your elbows as you release the shoulders apart and away from your neck. Extend through the backs of the heels and move your back ribs toward your front ribs down onto the bolster. Keep the back of the neck long and soft and relax your facial features. Hold for 2 minutes and then return to Dandasana. 4. Halasana, plow pose. Experiment with this pose using blankets, a bolster, and a chair for support. If you feel any discomfort, simply come out of the pose and rest in Shavasana. Stack 3 folded blankets at the end of your mat. The smooth, folded edges of the blankets should be in line with the edge of your mat. Open another blanket on the floor in front of your mat for the back of your head. Place a bolster on the mat behind your blankets for your pelvis to rest on, and position a chair on the floor in front of your mat in folded blankets. Lie down with your shoulders, upper back, and base of your neck on the stacked blankets, your head on the blanket on the floor, and your pelvis resting on the bolster. Reach your arms overhead and hold the feet of the chair. Push the chair away from you until your arms are straight. Bring your arms back by your sides and place your palms on the bolster. Rotate your upper arms outward and open the chest. Bracing your hands into the bolster, bend your knees toward your chest. Lift your pelvis off the bolster, and take your feet overhead, toes onto the seat of the chair. Separate your feet as wide apart as the seat of the chair, toes curled under. Clasp your hands behind your back, straighten your arms, and roll onto the outer front edges of your shoulders. Press your wrists into the bolster and lift the sides of your chest away from the floor. Relax your throat and allow the back of the neck to softly lengthen. Pressing your toes down, lift the fronts of your thighs away from your head and straighten your legs. Release the clasp of your hands and rest the backs of your hands on the floor besides your head, elbows bent at a 90-degree angle. Keep your legs active but you are head and neck passive, and your throat and face completely relaxed. To come down, bend your knees and slowly roll your upper, middle, and then lower back to the floor, keeping your head down. Rest on your back for a minute before rolling to your side to sit up. 5. Satyabandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. Sit on the front end of a bolster and belt the tops of your thighs together. With your knees bent and your feet on the floor, lie back onto the bolster. Using your feet to push against the floor, slide off the bolster just until your shoulders reach the floor and are at the same level as your head. Then extend your legs straight, backs of the heels on the floor. Roll the outer edges of the shoulders underneath you and broaden your chest as you lengthen your arms alongside the bolster. Turn the upper arms out in the palms toward the ceiling. If your lower back aches or feels compressed, elevate your feet on a support and lengthen the sacrum and buttocks toward your heels. End your practice with at least 5 minutes of Shavasana, using a blanket, if necessary, to support the back of your neck so it stays long and your face can completely relax toward your chest. H. Abhaji. Uti. Al. Answer by Sumit Tiwari. Blood pressure is not a special disease which can be cured by a specific posture. My blood pressure also increased with work pressure, brought it back to normal with the below-mentioned practices in couple of months. Blood pressure mainly increases, hence working only on postures and breathing exercise which reduces blood pressure will not suffice. Overall body needs to be relaxed and calmed down. Hence better start slowly with all the postures and breathing techniques under the observation of a good instructor. Over the time of couple of months gradually the blood pressure will reduce, and damage caused by it will start normalizing. Few precautions you must take are